What a wonderful welcome. I hate to stop that. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to the Spring 2018 Commencement and Hooding Ceremony of the University of Memphis Cecil C. Humphreys School of Law. Before we begin, please take a moment to turn off or silence your cell phones. We'd appreciate that. Would you now please stand again for the playing of the national anthem, sung by our very own graduating students, Victoria Cooper and Misty O'Neill.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
What a wonderful way to start our ceremony. Thank you again, ladies. That was spectacular. Welcome, everybody, to this momentous event, an event that acknowledges and celebrates several years of very hard work by the 110 graduating students who are here to receive their academic hoods, having completed the requirements of the Juris Doctor degree. Today's graduates include 3 students who are completing the requirements for the dual JD MBA degree. Also, we have with us 1 student who is concurrently completing the requirements for the Master's in Public Health degree, and 1 student who's concurrently completing his Master's in Political Science. Additionally, 4 students are receiving certificates in advocacy, 4 receiving certificates in business law, 4 receiving certificates in health law, and 3 receiving certificates in tax law. We're privileged to have with us on stage today several very distinguished university and law school officials, as well as several special guests. Each of these individuals will play an active role in today's ceremony. I have the great honor to recognize from my immediate left, Dr. Karen Weddle-West, who will confer the degrees upon our graduates on behalf of the university. The Honorable Steve Cohen, who will be our commencement speaker. The Honorable Robert L. Butch Childers, retired circuit court judge for the state of Tennessee and president of the University of Memphis National Alumni Association, who will serve as our pronouncer for the ceremony. Professor Kevin Smith, a member of our law faculty and former dean of the law school. The president of the Law School Student Bar Association, Hallie Goodman Flanagan. And the class speaker, Danny Gilchrist Bounds, Jr. I'd also like to recognize Assistant Dean for Admissions, Recruiting, and Scholarships, Dr. Sue-Ann McClellan, and Josie Holland, our Public Interest Counselor, who are serving as co-marshals at today's ceremony. So you all can rise and be recognized as well. Many members of our distinguished law faculty are also here to celebrate this milestone in the lives and careers of their students. I would like to recognize them also. I'll ask each faculty member to stand when I call your name and to remain standing until all faculty members have been introduced. Ralph Brazier, Amy Campbell, Demetria Frank, Janet Good, Deara Jones, Barbara Krachewski, Regina Lambert, Ernie Lidge, Andrew McClurg, John Newman, Danny Shafson, Jody Wilson, and Kate Shafson. I'd now like to introduce Mr. John Babango, a distinguished alumnus of our law school and a member of the Ferris Babango Law Firm, who will present the Ferris Babango Faculty Scholarship Award. John, if you could join me on stage. The Ferris Babango Faculty Scholarship Award was established in 2011 through the generosity of John's law firm, Ferris Babango PLC. The award honors outstanding faculty scholarship, and the recipient is selected by the dean in consultation with Ferris Babango. This year's winner of the Ferris Babango Faculty Scholarship Award is Professor Danny Shafson for his article, "Blight at the End of the Tunnel: How a City's need to fight vacant and abandoned properties gave rise to a law school clinic like no other." Danny, if you can join us to receive the award. I think we do. This year's commencement also marks the inaugural presentation of a new faculty teaching award, the Patricia and Dan Murrell Ethics and Professionalism Teaching Award. This award recognizes the professor who most effectively incorporates creative and innovative methods for including ethics and professionalism into their teaching, and has been established through the generosity of Professor Patricia Murrell and her late husband and our former colleague here at the law school, Professor Dan Murrell. On behalf of the entire law school community, I'd like to express our gratitude to the Murrell family for founding and funding this award. We appreciate their support and their confidence in us, and I know this award will further the Murrell family's goal of encouraging an even deeper investment by our law school in teaching ethics and professionalism throughout our curriculum. Our first winner of the Patricia and Dan Murrell Ethics and Professionalism Teaching Award is Professor Jody Wilson. The award is given in recognition of Professor Wilson's innovative and creative methods for teaching and modeling ethics and professionalism, not only in her professional responsibility course, but also in Legal Methods 1 and Legal Methods 2. Jody, if you can join me on stage. Congratulations to both Professor Shafson and Professor Wilson. Now I'm pleased to introduce Hallie Goodman Flanagan, President of the Student Bar Association, who will make brief remarks and introduce the recipients of the Professor of the Year and the Adjunct of the Year awards. Hallie has been a very active and productive SBA president, an excellent student, and someone with whom I very much enjoyed working all this last year as dean. I'm confident we're going to hear many, many more good things from Hallie in the years ahead. Please join me in welcoming Hallie Flanagan. You know you have gifts here for everybody. There's a plaque and a box for each professor.
Good afternoon. The Student Bar Association every single year chooses, well, rather, they help the class of 2018 choose a Professor of the Year as well as an Adjunct Professor of the Year. Our graduating class has had many wonderful professors over the years, wonderful adjuncts, but it is truly my honor to introduce this year's Professor of the Year, who has been with us for, he told me not to say how many years, but a very long time. He was with us when we were down on main campus on Highland. He was with us when he moved to the law school downtown. He is a beloved professor and former dean that we have grown to love, and it is my honor to present Professor Kevin Smith with Professor of the Year.
She got exactly what I wanted, a gold embossed uniform commercial code. Thank you. Thank you very much. I am moved and honored to be the class of 2018's Professor of the Year. I find it amazing because our days together usually began at 8 a.m. and always involved discussions of such thrilling topics as whether computer programs are goods under Article 2 of the Uniform Commercial Code, whether the owner of a road grader may recover its rental value as a remedy and restitution if the grader's taken and hidden in a forest for 4 years, and the differences between a descriptive thesis and a prescriptive thesis in your seminar papers or law review notes. And in addition, I'm sure you've heard widgets frequently enough to last a lifetime, not to mention, is this a defined term? My colleagues will undoubtedly agree with me when I tell you how much we have enjoyed working with you during the formal part of your legal education. What a privilege it has been for all of us. We are so proud of you and what you've accomplished during your time here. Reflect for a moment on the difference between the current you, the soon-to-be graduate you, and the person who walked through the door on the first day of orientation. What a tremendous growth you've made in your knowledge of the law, in your ability to engage in legal analysis, in your skills in legal research and writing, and in your professionalism. You truly are prepared to take the next steps in your careers, including that little quiz 8 weeks or so down the road. With hard work, with focus, and with a continued commitment to professional development, each of you is going to make significant contributions to the legal system. And although now it will be from a distance, all of us at the law school will continue to feel great pride in your professional accomplishments. At the risk of being a little bit paternalistic, I admonish you not to neglect the personal side of your life: health, family, faith, or whatever else brings you happiness and fulfillment outside of the office. We wish you all the best in the personal side of your life, too. Please stay in touch. Please stop by the law school when you're in Memphis. Please stop by the faculty wing when you're in the building. Now, beyond these short remarks, my other responsibility as Professor of the Year is to assist with the hooding process, so I'll take my seat now and look forward to seeing you all in a few minutes. Congratulations, best wishes to each of you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Smith. Now I'd like to announce who the class of 2018 has chosen for our Adjunct Professor of the Year. I was fortunate in my last semester to have this professor teaching the first ever entertainment law class at University of Memphis, and it was one of the biggest classes with the most students of any class I've ever taken. He's incredibly popular with our class, and he's a fantastic teacher, and he juggles so many different roles in his life. It is my honor to present Adjunct of the Year to Adjunct Professor Tony Alexander.
Thank you, Hallie, and congratulations both to Professor Smith and to Professor Alexander. Before I introduce our commencement speaker, I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize and thank two law school faculty members who will be leaving us at the end of this academic year. Professor Jeremy Bach, who unfortunately couldn't be with us this evening, and also Professor Janet Good. Professor Bach joined our faculty in 2013 and has been an outstanding teacher and scholar throughout his 5 years with us. Professor Good joined us in 2015 as a visiting professor and has been instrumental in the founding, growth, and great success of our medical legal partnership with Memphis Area Legal Services and Methodist Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. On behalf of our entire law school community, I want to thank both Professor Bach and Professor Good for their distinguished service to our law school and wish them all the best in the future. I'm confident Professor Bach will build on his already outstanding record as a member of the faculty at Tulane University Law School, where he'll start in the fall, and I'm equally confident that Professor Good will continue to provide the exceptional legal services to the community and to those in need in the years ahead. Please join me in a much-deserved round of applause for both Professor Bach and Professor Good. Janet, can you stand up? Janet? It's now my privilege and honor to introduce our commencement speaker, Congressman Steve Cohen, the United States Representative for Tennessee's 9th Congressional District. Congressman Cohen is a fourth-generation Memphian who we're extremely proud to have as an alumnus of this law school. Congressman Cohen graduated with a bachelor's degree from Vanderbilt University in 1971 and earned his JD from the University of Memphis in 1973. From the moment he first registered to vote, Congressman Cohen has dedicated his life to public service. He served as delegate and vice president of the Tennessee Constitutional Convention in 1977. He served as Shelby County Commissioner from 1978 to 1980. He was elected to the Tennessee General Assembly as state senator in 1982 and served continuously in that capacity until 2006. Most recently, he was elected as the United States Representative for the Tennessee's 9th Congressional District for the first time in 2006 and has been reelected 5 times since, in 2008, 2010, 2012, 2014, 2016, and maybe we can go on. We'll see. Congressman Cohen has been and continues to be a passionate and tireless advocate for our community. His accomplishments on our behalf are far too numerous to even fairly summarize in the time we have today, but I'd like to mention a few highlights. During his time as Shelby County Commissioner, Congressman Cohen cast the deciding vote for the creation of the MED, which today, as Regional 1 Health, has one of the finest trauma and burn center units in the Mid-South. During his 24 years in the Tennessee State Senate, Congressman Cohen amassed a strong record of passionate, honest, and unselfish service. His accomplishments in the state Senate include drafting the resolution creating one of the first state Holocaust commissions in the United States, relentlessly advocating on issues ranging from civil rights to funding for the arts to women's rights to animal welfare, and leading the fight for nearly 2 decades to successfully create the Tennessee Lottery to fund educational initiatives across our state. Upon election to the U.S. House of Representatives in 2006, Congressman Cohen immediately distinguished himself on Capitol Hill. In 2008, he was instrumental in passing the first of its kind House resolution apologizing for the enslavement and racial segregation of African Americans, and throughout his career in the House, he's remained a steadfast leader in issues of importance to the people of the 9th District, including infant mortality, universal health care, the economy, crime and criminal rehabilitation, veterans issues, transportation and infrastructure, and of course, education. Congressman Cohen has also dedicated himself to providing outstanding constituent service to the citizens of Memphis. We're fortunate to have Congressman Cohen not only as a member of the United States Congress, but also as an alumnus of our law school. We're especially fortunate to have him with us today as our commencement speaker. Please join me in welcoming Congressman Steve Cohen.
Thank you and good evening to Dean Letsu and all of the faculty and the staff, the parents, the family, friends, and most especially the graduates. It's an honor for me to be here with you. I was in the same position you, the graduates, are in almost 45 years ago. I know that was before any of y'all were born. Some of you, it might have been before your parents were born. Lesson to be learned, tempus fugit, time flies. Enjoy it while you're here. It goes by quickly. It doesn't seem like it, but it does. I was privileged to attend the University of Memphis, which provides a good quality legal education to the 100 or so members of our class and to others who have preceded you and those that will succeed you. Contrary to what some people might think about lawyers, it's a great profession, and you are blessed to have a degree and an education in the law. It will serve you well as a lawyer, or if you decide to go into another profession, which some do, it will serve you well there as well. You have learned a way to research, to think, and to identify issues, which is important in whatever you do. Lawyers are the vanguard of our country's greatest treasures. When I've had the opportunity to travel around the world as a United States Congressman, what I've heard from people in every continent is what we envy you in the United States is the rule of law. The rule of law, that no man, no woman is above the law. And that can be applied and enforced by you as lawyers. We are at a critical time in our country when the rule of law is being threatened. The judiciary and members of the bar have been attacked in the most unlikely of places. But people have risen up and will continue to rise up and protest to see that our country remains resolute in support of the United States Constitution, of equality under the law and the rule of law, that no person is above the law, and that will be enforced and applied by lawyers. It was lawyers who came forth when there were conditions on the immigration bill that was proposed to go to the airports on their own to represent immigrants and people being threatened to not be allowed to remain or come in this country. Lawyers went to those airports because it was a calling that you will have, and I'm sure has been imbued in you by the faculty at the University of Memphis Law School, to see to it that justice is done. When people marched on Washington for women's rights, marched for protections for students in schools, lawyers were there and will be there. Every lawyer has that chance to make a difference. Sometimes the difference is in a big picture, sometimes it's in an individual case. But you help a citizen when they're battling against injustice, maybe they're arrested wrongfully, or they've been dispossessed of their property unlawfully, and everybody has a right to a lawyer. And whether you're in General Sessions Court, or whether you're in federal court, or whether you're in the United States Supreme Court, you're doing the same thing. You're standing up for the principle that makes the United States of America the greatest country on the face of the earth, the greatest country ever, and the greatest country that ever is going to be. So I congratulate you. Dr. Martin Luther King said, and it's been widely quoted, that the arc of the moral universe bends toward justice. But it doesn't bend there on its own. It takes people of courage, oftentimes people of courage with law degrees, to make that happen. I urge you as a citizen to get involved in public life. Many of the judges in Shelby County are graduates of the University of Memphis Law School, and that's a great place to serve and to provide justice and to help your community. But if you get involved just in politics and help elect those judges, it's real good for your success rate in court. And that's important too, because you want to win. You're all type A's. I'm a type A. Type A's like to win. You get involved and elect people who care about student debt. That's a pretty big deal, isn't it? Student debt has gone out the roof. It's too much. When I graduated school, we didn't have the high tuition and the high student debt that you have, and the lending practices that come down on you and don't give you any opportunity for relief. So politics makes a big difference, and I urge you to get involved and to be involved in politics. And I urge you to vote in every election. People don't value the right to vote. Too many people stay home. At the most recent election we had, 17 or 18% of the people voted. In a good turnout, it's 35 or 40%. It should be 80%. It should be 100%. And a lot of elections and a lot of issues have turned on one vote. If it weren't for one vote in 2001, Mr. Bounds wouldn't have been able to get the Hope Lottery Scholarship because it wouldn't have passed. It passed by one vote in the Senate. If it weren't for one vote back in 1920, by a young man from East Tennessee in the House of Representatives, women wouldn't have gotten the right to vote in this country at that time. One vote made the difference. That's why you should get involved and elect the right people to make that vote. I see somebody's listened to me speak before. So I urge you to get involved in politics and to love the law and always operate through the canons of ethics. Sometimes people will see opportunities, get around things, go around corners. Never do it. Always do the right thing. You can live with it. The law lives with it. And it's just the right thing to do. Ecclesiastes says that a good name is better than a precious ointment. A good name is so important. And as a lawyer, scrupulously abide by the canons and keep your good name. A friend of mine died last year named Irvin Salke. Irvin Salke was a great lawyer. He was not interested in making a lot of money, and he never did, nor in getting accolades and awards. But he was a person whose good name followed him throughout and was respected for always living in court ethically and being friendly. And that matters more than anything in life. So remember Ecclesiastes, and keep your good name. As you go through public life, and I've had the opportunity, I practiced law, and I loved it. There are times that I'm in the Congress, and I'm blessed to have been in Congress and the state Senate. And for those of you who are voters and have voted for me, thank you. For those that are in my district and haven't voted for me yet, the doors of the church are still open. But it's been a blessing. I've had the opportunity to help try to shape the law and take my legal education and apply it on the Judiciary Committee, both in the state Senate and United States Congress. And that's the committee I chose to be on throughout my 36 years in legislative bodies with committees of the judiciary, because I love the law and we can make a difference. But at times, I've rued the fact that I wasn't trying a case. It's a great rush to try a case. As truth dictates and justice demands, and you go before that jury and you question those witnesses, it's an awesome responsibility. Find yourself a good mentor and learn from that person. I had people like Henry Klein, who I had a case with, who's a great lawyer. I had Lucius Birch to look up to and others, and they can guide you to do the right thing and teach you how to practice and how to win those cases. But practice in law and jury trials are phenomenal. I miss that. So you've got that opportunity, and that makes a big difference in somebody's life. You can make a difference, and I know you will. Now, our country's going to continue, and we're going to survive. We're going through some rough times, but we do need to see that the rule of law is maintained, and judges and courts are held up to a high degree of respect and authority, as they should. You're entering a new passage in life. You're coming out of school. You've got the bar exam. The bar, you got to buckle down and study for that, because you don't want to do it a second time. It's an awful thing to do once. Don't do it twice. When I finished law school, I didn't go out for 2 months except for one Bob Dylan concert and a Memphis Marquette basketball game. Just booked it. So do that, book it, get it done. Mr. Birch had an expression that he picked up, SARN, S-A-R-N-E, an acronym. And in a speech he made called Valedictorian of a Maverick, he said that the author was not anybody he remembered, but the thought was, and I offer you this as you go into life, remember SARN. It stands for security. It's what a good life is. A good life involves security, and as a lawyer, you can make a living and have a secure life, and that's important. The A is for affection. And it's your personal life. You've got your mother, Mother's Day tomorrow. You've got your father. But find somebody to live life with that you can love and that can appreciate you and that you can have a higher meaning in life, in that affection. And that's real important. The R is for recognition. And the recognition can be by being a dean, by being a congressman or a city councilman like John Babango was, or Jamie Woodson, who was a state senator with me, or it can be a lawyer who just does a really great job for their client, and their client looks up to them and thinks, you helped me when I had trouble with my DUI, or you helped me with my real estate situation. You get that recognition, and that's important. And the N-E on SARN is new experiences. Always look for something new. Don't get stuck in a routine. Find new areas of the law to go into, new areas of public service, and think in different ways outside the box to move your community forward. Memphis is a city that needs to improve. We're doing better. We've got a ways to go. But there are opportunities here, and because of the fact that we haven't done certain things, it gives you a bigger opportunity to move the city forward. There was a man named Russell Conwell, and he founded Temple University. And he gave a speech 6,000 times between 1875 and his death in 2025 called Acres of Diamonds. And it was about the opportunity to find success. And the main chapter in it was about a gentleman who lived near Baghdad, and he wanted to be super rich, and he went all over the world trying to find diamonds. And he traveled to North America, and he traveled to the Caribbean, and he went everywhere he could to find diamonds. And he died in Barcelona, Spain, penniless, trying to find diamonds. And not long after his death, they found diamonds on his property. The Hope Diamond, the Regent Diamond, on his property. So what Russell Conwell tried to tell everybody was sometimes your treasure is at home. You don't have to go to New York or San Francisco or Montreal. It's right in Memphis, Tennessee, and you just have to look inside your own home and your own yard, and you can find your acres of diamonds. You are going to be the acres of diamonds in the future. I feel better about the future of the city of Memphis because of you. I congratulate you. I look forward to working with you in making Memphis and Shelby County a better community and preserving the rule of law for the United States of America. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Cohen, for those inspirational words and your sage advice to our graduates. To memorialize this occasion, I'd like to present you with a small gift on behalf of the Cecil C. Humphrey School of Law and especially on behalf of the graduating class. Okay, we've now reached the portion of the program entitled Dean's Remarks and Presentation of Candidates. I suspect you're more interested in the latter than the former, so I will be brief. Today is called Commencement Day for good reason. It's a new beginning for our graduates who will soon face new challenges, not least of them, as Congressman Cohen just mentioned, the bar exam later this summer. But it's also the end of 3 years of formal legal education here at the Cecil C. Humphrey School of Law, and for most of our graduates, the end of 20 or even more years of formal schooling. So it's both an end and a beginning for our soon-to-be graduates. The end of a sometimes stressful period of at least 3 years of legal education, which hopefully included some good times as well as those stressful times, and the beginning of their legal careers. The members of this great class of 2018 begin their legal careers during a time of great transformation in our world and in the legal profession. To prepare our graduates for the challenging world they're about to enter, the faculty has worked them hard, very hard, during their 3 years in law school. Not because the faculty enjoys seeing students struggle, though in the early days of law school, some of you may have felt that way, but because we understand the challenges our students face and want to do everything we can to ensure that they, like their many predecessors over the last half-century, are prepared to lead professional lives marked by accomplishment, meaning, and lasting contributions to society. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to report that the students who are sitting here today have satisfied the very high standards of the School of Law has set for them. The fact that they are here today with us is proof not only of their high aptitude, but also of their hard work, their perseverance, and their commitment to improving society. It's evidence of their ability and fitness to fulfill the heavy obligation that the legal profession places on its members, and of their capacity to serve their clients, their communities, and the public with honor and distinction. Members of the class of 2018, congratulations. You have every reason to be proud of your accomplishment. We know you've sacrificed much for this day. Today we honor not only your efforts and sacrifices, but also your outstanding achievements. But we all know no one succeeds alone. So we would be remiss if we stopped here and did not also honor those who have helped you succeed. And now I'm not speaking of your professors or the law school staff, though they're certainly deserving of your thanks as well. Instead, I'm speaking of your families and friends, parents, grandparents, spouses, children, siblings, other relatives, loved ones, and friends who provided material, moral, and emotional support, as well as companionship and friendship during your years in law school. So on behalf of the Cecil C. Humphrey School of Law and the University of Memphis, I'd like to express our deep thanks to all the families and friends of our soon-to-be graduates, those who could be with us today and those who could not. Thank you for helping these graduates succeed in law school. Thank you for being our partners in the task of producing these soon-to-be lawyers. Congratulations, and thank you very much. Now back to our graduates. You now enter a noble profession, a profession that gives you the ability to change people's lives, indeed to change society and the world. With this power, however, comes an even greater responsibility to use your skills as lawyers not simply to better your own lives, but to better the lives of others. I know all of you will live up to the noble aspirations of our profession and be outstanding servants to the clients and communities you'll serve. We're proud of you. Congratulations again to each and every one of you. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Karen Weddle-West, Provost of the University of Memphis. Dr. Weddle-West will confer the Juris Doctor degree on each of the graduates. Afterwards, Associate Dean Kate Shafson and Professor Kevin Smith will assist in placing the academic hoods on each graduate as Judge Butch Childers, retired judge of the Circuit Court of Tennessee and president of the University of Memphis National Alumni Association, introduces the graduates. So, Dr. Weddle-West.
Thank you, Dean Letso. All the graduates of the Cecil C. Humphrey School of Law, please stand. Ladies and gentlemen of the graduating class of the Cecil C. Humphreys School of Law at the University of Memphis, with the approval of the faculty of the School of Law, and upon the certification that you have fulfilled all of the requirements for graduation, and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University of Memphis, I am pleased to confer the Juris Doctor degree upon you and declare that you are now entitled to all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereunto. We take great pleasure in presenting you with the academic hood for the Juris Doctor as evidence of your accomplishment. Please be seated.
Will the graduates please rise and come forward?
Jordan Alexander Anderson. Jonathan Tanner Ball, hooded by his father Gordon Ball, class of 1974. Rachel Elizabeth Berney. Charles Hilliard Barnett IV, hooded by his father, Charles H. Barnett III, class of 1975, and his sister, Sarah Barnett, class of 2001. Kara Gabrielle Bidstrup. Angela Duncan Boysu. Danny Gilchrist Bounds. Connor Stephen Bramlett. William Gilbert Bowie IV. Christopher D. Burt. Mitchell Andrew Campbell. William Ty Campbell. Garth Jackson Carson. Lon Chen. Kevin Eugene Christopher. Rachel Lauren Cook. Victoria Cooper. Hugh Phoenix Cross. Frederick Evan Culver. Luke Daniel Symbol. Ramon Damas. James Robert Davis. Rosalind Sharrail Dobbins. Kelsey Brianna Duckett. Hooded by her father, Gregory Duckett, class of 1985. Thomas Connor Dugash. Forrest Morgan Edwards. Hooded by his cousin, Will Muller, class of 2009. Stephen Chase Fan. Hooded by his father, Terry Fan, class of 1987. Katie Leanne Farley. Hallie Goodman Flanagan. Sydney Alexandra Franklin. Matthew Lane Garth. Andrew Zachary Graham. Kelly Lynn Hagee. Caitlin Abernathy Hanson. Caleb T. Harris. Chloe Paulina Halls. Chandrea Hersey. Jessica Nicole Hightower. Patrick Jonathan Hillard. Rebecca Renee Holden. Amanda Marie Hood. Ashley Brooke Huddleston. Richard Dale Hutcherson. Shelley Ramsey Johnson. Zachary A. Jordan. Benjamin Robert Law. Brandon D. Little. Robert Luca. Timothy Matthew Maestas. Carmen Maines. Marcus Willie Maples. Marguerite Willens McGowan. Thomas W. McWaters. Walker Ray McWhirter. Frankie Deneen Merrill. Anna Gabrielle Minovich. Louis Joseph Montesi III. Hooded by his father, the Honorable Louis Montesi Jr., class of 1973. David Lawrence Moore. Jeffrey K. Moore, Jr. Jason R. Moorhead. Robert E. Morelli III. Laura Ann Muscari. Nathan David Neal. Noor Suzanne Obaji. Misty Lee O'Neill. Daniel Owens. Jada Lynn Owens. Benjamin David Pay. Larry James Peters II. Frank Forrest Purcell. Andrew J. Rankin. Naomi Normeen Reeves II. Hooded by her cousin Jana Mitchell, class of 2015. Joshua Jude Roberts. Nicholas Ryan Roberts. William P. Rudolph. Ariel Alicia Rush. Adam J. Ryan. Congratulations. George Stackhouse Scoville III. Regan S. Sherwood. Brittany Michelle Smith. Elizabeth Bennett Stachik. Matthew David Stomball. Esther Delaney Sykes Wood. Emily Elizabeth Talley. Tyler Glenn Tollison. Hooded by his father, Mitchell Tollison, class of 1990. Acia Hugh Cooper Tony. Whitney Page Trujillo. Hooded by her wife, Sydney Trujillo, class of 2017. Adrian Vivar Alcalde. Benjamin I. Wachtel. Carlin Sharon Washington. Molly K. Wildman. Andrew H. Williamson. Dane Michael Wilson. Dominique Rochelle Winfrey. Brandon J. Woosley.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2018 graduating class of the University of Memphis Cecil C. Humphreys School of Law. Thank you, Judge Childers. Judge Childers has been an enthusiastic, unflagging, and extremely effective advocate for our law school for many years. I'm grateful to Judge Childers for his friendship and for the service he has provided to our school and to our students. Thank you, Butch. Now back again to our graduates. Congratulations. You can now switch your tassels to the other side of your caps. Traditionally, at the spring commencement ceremony, a student is selected by the graduating class to make an address. This year, the graduating class selected Danny Gilchrist Bounds, Jr. Please join me in welcoming to the podium your classmate, Danny Bounds.
Man, I love all y'all. I tell you, when I first found out that I became speaker, you know, you would think that, like, I'd be like, oh, cool, I get to feel like President Obama or, you know, a preacher. But I have to be completely honest that the very first person I thought of was Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, and when she gave her commencement speech. Except I guess in my case, instead of legally blonde, it'd be legally black. All right. But I tell you, it's a pleasure, and I just thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. Provost Weddle West, Congressman Cohen, Dean Letsu, Judge Childers, Professor Smith, Hallie, all of you sitting up there, faculty, staff, and administration, family, friends, and of course, my people, class of 2018. I just really want to thank you all for allowing me to stand on this stage to address you all at the 2018 commencement ceremony. It is truly an honor to be here, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Now, before I get down to the nitty-gritty of the speech, I want to make sure that I give a roadmap. In law school, we learn how to give a roadmap in an oral argument or something like that. So just so y'all can hang on, because I know I'm the last one waiting until pictures and dinner. So first, I'm going to do a little bit about law school. Second, then I'm going to go down and talk about 1L year, give a little reminiscent moments. Third, I'm going to give some inspirational moments for us, because we all need something inspiring as we're about to approach the bar. And then last, I'll give a couple thank yous to some people that mean the most to me. But yet, first I want to do also is some acknowledgments, because you all know that I like to acknowledge people when I meet them, when I see them. That is something that my parents have instilled in me since I was a young boy. And being the oldest of 7 children, they acknowledge each and every one of us for our individualities and contributions to the family. And so I want to make sure I do that. So first, could I have our faculty please stand, because I want to make sure to acknowledge you all for what you have done for us. It is all of you and the ones that are not here that prepared us for this moment today. Thank you for challenging us, supporting us, and even embarrassing us when we didn't read for class. We really appreciate it. Second, I'd like to thank the administration and the staff members of the University of Memphis. If you all could please stand as well. It is you all that made Cecil C. Humphreys Law School. All of your programming, from the support, the food, the clean restrooms, safety, and the free and sometimes spotty Wi-Fi. It truly created a place that we could call home, and honestly, home enough to where some people actually slept there, so we appreciate that. I also want to acknowledge the family and friends of the graduates. All of you all, please stand. Every single one of you, I'm serious. I'm serious. All of you served as our backbone. It was all of you that listened to us complain about homework and tests, cooked us meals, and saw us at the worst of times and the best of times while in law school. But without your love and support, all of us probably would not be here today. So again, thank you. And then, of course, to my 2018 graduates, y'all go ahead and stand one more time. You know I love y'all. Y'all give them a hand. We worked hard for this degree. We worked hard. We could stand all night, I'll tell you that. All I gotta say to y'all is that we did it. Y'all, we did it, we did it, we did it. So thank you all. Y'all are awesome. Okay, so now that I've recognized the whole room, because y'all know I don't like to leave anybody out, I would first like to give you a snapshot of our class. I'm following the roadmap, okay? So while in law school, we had observed so many people that have done so many things in the 3 years that they've dedicated here at the law school to complete this degree. Some of my classmates already had careers before this, like engineering, pharmacy, education, and even entertainment. I tell you, we were a diverse group of individuals. Deciding to go to law school is not an easy choice, and no one truly understands what it takes to complete this degree until you actually go for it. However, each individual person who has graduated today, I promise, worked their hardest to make sure that they were able to walk across that stage today. You have people like Adam Ryan, who worked up in New York as an accountant and came back home to do something different in law. You have Whitney Trujillo, who was an advocate for mental health and made sure that we had a law school counselor within our building. We have Patrick Hillard, one of the smoothest and sharpest people in our class, who wore a suit every single day to class. We have Jessie Diamond, who was a mom who just had a baby not too long ago and still came out a rock star. We have someone like Naomi Reeves, a California girl with Mississippi roots, who had to push even harder in school when she lost her father last summer. We also have Ramon Damas, a guy who had a young child our 1L year and will be up until 3 o'clock in the morning, and he would still come to class on time, do his homework, and participate, and still got good grades. This is just a snapshot of what we have within this group of people right here. Now, just because I called out the names of these particular people, it doesn't mean that they're extra special, for this is just a small fraction of the talent and heart that exists in this room. Out of all the people I've interacted with in an academic setting, never have I ever worked with the caliber of individuals like this before. I'm telling you, you just cannot beat it. Each person's name that you heard today worked hard, and if I could, I would literally recognize each and every one of you. But just know that from the bottom of my heart, I love each one of you. Hey. Now, second part of the speech, all right? We're moving along. All right, so now you may have heard stories about law school, and if you have not, please make sure to ask your graduate tonight some stories that they've experienced while taking classes these past 3 years. Because to be honest, it's kind of like the movies, and it's kind of not. Yes, there is competition. Yes, there are late nights. Yes, there are gunners in the class who answer every question, and I'm not going to say their names because they know who they are. Yes, we read, and we read a whole lot. I've never used so many highlighters in my life. However, unless you go through a legal education, it is hard to understand why we're so stressed all the time for 3 years. As soon as you start your 1L year, believe me, like in the words of Professor McClurg, it is one hell of a ride. So we started law school orientation back on August 13th and quickly realized that this was not about to be a joke. Once we started, we realized the school had divided the class into two sections. We had section 11, and we had section 12. See, I told y'all they started competing against each other. To give a glimpse of our sections, let me tell you a little bit about each section and what we had to deal with our 1L year. Let's start with 11, not because it's, my section, but because it just becomes before 12, of course. All right, so section 11. We were known, I believe, for the class that could not have study guides on our exams. We had to do it all closed book. We also had people in our class ask somewhat crazy questions, but also I would say that we were known as like the nice section. We had some pretty cool professors. We had Professor Allen, our torts professor, who was known for kicking people out of class. Yes, kicking people out, and some of us in this room was kicked out, and it was definitely terrorizing. We had Professor Brazier, who always made us laugh because property, it's not always the most interesting subject, but he always made us laugh every single day. I love you, Professor Brazier. You gotta love that man. None like him. We had Professor Bach for civil procedure, who literally picked his victim to call on by choosing a name from a deck of cards, and he would shuffle them every day in silence and draw our name, and you would just, out of fear, not want to be called on. We had Professor Newman for contracts, who was smart, young, and asked every single detail of the case. I mean, we were talking about a case with jars on the back of a truck. He was like, well, how many jars were there? I don't know. Then, of course, we had Professor Shapiro, who could not stand, of course, when we got off topic and how always had to reel us in. Now we have section 12. Now, again, since we didn't get the study guides, they got all of the study guides. I mean, they'd be like, oh, yeah, for my exam, I have 15 cheat sheets, that we can bring into the exam. I'm like, dang, okay. We know who's going to be the top of the class. But I would also say that they were the most chill in the relaxed section. Like, they just always were just chilling, in my opinion, which is a good thing, because they were always relaxed. They had Professor Romance, who would apparently come up with crazy hypotheticals to describe murder and would use actual people in the school building and in the class to literally describe murder. Scary. They had Professor McClurg, who would literally yell while explaining torts. And when I mean yell, I'm talking about yell. We would be in torts and would hear him across the hall. But he was just that excited about torts, hence why he's called Tort Man. They also had Professor Shafson, who was known to be the goddess of civil procedure, that was so perfect and so smart and so intimidating. They also had Professor Mamluk, who was very theoretical and usually skipped the readings that he assigned for class and just really spent the most time talking about, is this a question of law or a question of fact? And then they were also lucky to have two professors for property. They had Professor Harkness, who was kind of thrown in the last minute. And I know she tried to teach conveyances the best way that she could. And then, of course, Professor Keel was the mysterious professor who had gone to Africa for a couple of years and came back and all of a sudden was teaching property, who was also super cool and had a very quick wit in his class. And, of course, we all shared one professor, and that was Professor Wilson, our director of legal methods, who had the intimidating and exciting role of being our professor. This was our most favorite class of law school, right, guys? She had to front load us with assignments that taught us grammar again, legal writing, and research, and we actually had to research in the books. We couldn't use internet for a full semester, so that was very hard, especially for us millennials, right? Although tough, the experience of 1L year was the foundation of our legal career. I believe that the obstacles and the perspectives that we experienced gave us appreciation and the seriousness of what it means to be a lawyer. Although the methods and curriculum seemed a little outdated and old school at times, I have to admit that I'm sure we all appreciate what we went through to a degree. However, I'm sure we all agree that we're happy we do not have to go through that ever again. Now, to my fellow classmates, we finished 1L year, 2L year, and 3L year. Congratulations. Through the joys, the tears, and the continuous readings, we are able to say that we are done with Cecil C. Now, you all picked me to give some sort of inspiration as well, so this is one thing I have to leave you with. It's going to be a long one thing, but here's my inspiration. So we're moving on the roadmap, guys, all right? So I want you to remember one question. It is actually just one word. And that question or word is why. Why is the first question that we learn as a child, usually, and sometimes got us in trouble. And in law school, we were taught with our analytical minds to answer the question why all the time. To give the rest of the audience a picture of what it was like to be in a law school class, let's say I'm in a class and when I'm called on, I give the best answer to my professor. I was like, yeah, nailed it. And then the professor says, okay, good answer, but why? And then I would come back with something smart, not me, but try to be smart, right? Sound smart. And again, the professor would be like, oh, that's good, but why? Professors would ask this, in my opinion, not to embarrass us, but they use this simple question to help us figure out the reasoning behind our answer, to get to the core of the issue. The core, yes, that is the reason why. And to me, that is probably the most important word that can help guide us in our future as lawyers. Remembering the core, the why, I believe, is what is going to motivate you in the early stages of your legal career, comfort you in the hard days, and inspire you for future achievements. So one thing I want you to remember after you finish listening to me is to remember your why. Now, I submit to you that there are two types of whys that's going to help shape you as a person. There's your simple why, and there's your complex why. And in the world where lawyers are looked at to be somewhat soulless in what we do sometimes, I ask you, when you practice and when you inspire, that you become a change agent utilizing your simple why and your complex why. So what's the difference between the two? Your simple why is the one that motivates you and inspires you. As we started law school, everyone always asks, why did you go to law school? For me, it was seeing the injustices in society. For others, it could have been family members that were in the legal profession. And for others, it could just be the fact that they wanted to make a good income for their family. Whatever your why is, I pray that you all remember that on the days when you are working as an attorney, that you simply push and use your simple why on those hard days. You already know that it's a simple why because it's the same thing that got you through law school. When you were staying up late studying, you fell back on your simple why. It's been in the back of your mind this whole entire time. It is why you are sitting in your seat today. And when you start working and when the going gets tough, I want you to remember that simple why. For it may be the only thing, the one thing, that pushes you towards achieving your future goals, as it already did by you achieving the JD today. Now, your second why is the one that I call why. Like, why did this happen? Or why me? I know each and every one of us had this happen through our 3 years here in many different circumstances. Whether it was being called on class when you did not read, or finding out the midterm was closed book, or if it was just something like a family emergency that happened in the middle of the semester. The other why is something that you usually try to forget due to the pain and the embarrassment and the stress that it brings you. I call this the complex why. A lot of people don't know this for me, but my biggest complex why was 1L year. I've only failed one class in my life, and that happened around this time 2 years ago in law school. I remember the moment I received an F on my report card, and it was something that was so embarrassing and devastating. If it was something, it's definitely something I don't wish on anybody, and only a few of us in our class actually know what that actually feels like. It was in a place where grades are treated like God. It was tough to fathom the success of a law school career with a big fat F on your transcript. And that's why the complex why takes time to process, because for us all, we have to analyze this why. We have to figure out why it happened, take it in, and decide how to push forward through it. So as we enter into the legal world, I have a suggestion. Why not use both of these whys to push you forward? Why not use both of these whys to help others? So today, I'm asking you to interpret each of your whys. your simple why, and your complex why. Use your simple why for the easy days. When you get bogged down with bar prep this summer, remember why you did this. When your job asks you to stay late to work on a case on a Friday, try to remember your simple why. Through the everyday journey of life, remember why you decided to apply to law school and use that as your motivation to succeed. It is like remembering where you came from. You just never forget it. For it is necessary to keep moving forward and to continue to be who you are. Now for the complex why, however, I ask you to use this when you want to inspire others. You best believe there are other people who are going through similar situations that you had gone through. And if you are vulnerable enough to share your pain, you never know what impact you may make on others. One moment that related to my complex why with my grade that happened confirmed this idea. It was 2L year, and I was in the bookstore buying my contracts book. Contracts was the class I had to retake based off my grade. I ran into another 2L who was in section 12 the previous year who asked me what book I was buying. In my mind, I knew that if I had told him contracts, he would automatically know that I had to retake that class. I could have lied, but I decided just to tell him. Well, when he heard me say contracts was the book I was about to buy, he told me, well, man, you're not alone. You're not alone. I failed contracts too, and I was just coming to buy my book as well. I smiled, and after that small talk and giving each other advice, at that moment, it was confirmed to me the purpose of the complex why, because it gave both of us hope that we were not alone. And sometimes you go through things in life just so you can encourage others who might be dealing with the same thing. Remember this type of why, and it will remind you of how strong you are to get through the pain, to get through the suffering, and overall get through life. Sometimes just knowing the fact that you survived the complex why is what is able to get you out of bed in the morning. Never forget it, for it's the complex whys that are going to be true to your meaning of faith, grit, and resilience. It's going to help shape you into the amazing person that you all already are. It's going to show you that although the situation was a disappointment, you literally made it through. So, when you go into your interview, when you talk to others about law school, when you share your life's experiences, don't just state your simple why. State your complex why too. When you talk about law school, be bold and share your complex why and tie it up with a bow with the simple why. Turn into what I believe what we would call your true why. I know it's not easy, and I know it takes courage sometimes, but overall, you have to remember your true why is uniquely you. And if you live by that true why every day, I can't guarantee that it's going to make life any easier, but I will say it might give you a little more purpose. Again, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to you. I hope it made sense, but before we close, I had to give last-minute shout-outs to some people that mean the world to me. So I want to give a shout-out to, she's not here, she actually just had a baby, with Professor Allen for always calling me on class because she pushed me every day 1L year. I also wanted to give a shout-out to my buddies, the Four Horsemen, Chris, Matt, and Matt, for always supporting me every day in class when we would sit in the back row. And of course, to my brothers, Kevin, Patrick, and Jeff, I love you all. I also I'm sorry, y'all. I want to thank my 2L fall semester professors. When I found out my GPA, I went to every single one of you and told you that if I don't do well this fall semester, I will not be able to graduate. I will not be here. And they literally assisted me through that whole process, and I would not be standing here today without the support of them being able to assist me that 2L year fall semester. So that is Professor Keel, Professor Frank, Judge Kraft, and Professor Good. Thank you so much. Along with their support, that same semester I had the support of the admissions team. They were there for me. I also had Molly Wildman, who helped me with my essay exam, so I appreciate you for that. And everybody else that was there for me that semester that knew what I was going through, I really appreciate your support. I also want to thank Mr. Tony. I don't know if he's here today, but if people don't know him, he is the best man in our law school. He cleans, and he cleans with so much pride, and he gives me, there you are. There you are. I call him my coach, because every day we would have these long conversations. I appreciate you, man. Then, last but not least, I want to thank my family who's here today. I love you all. My friends who came to support, and of course, my beautiful fiance. I love you, babe. Every single one of you that I specifically mentioned are part of my why, and I thank you for that. And again, I thank you, my fellow classmates. Because of you all's support and love for me and each other, we did this thing. And you also made me realize my true why as well. Thank you so much.
Well, I can see why you chose Danny as your speaker. Thank you very much, Danny. Those were wonderful and moving remarks. We appreciate them and appreciate you. Members of the 2018 graduating class, this is your day. For most of you, this is the last day of your school life after 2 decades or more of schooling. Over those many years, you've accumulated an enormous amount of knowledge, maybe a little bit of debt, but you're now ready to put that knowledge to good use for the benefit of your clients and society. This is truly a day of tremendous accomplishment, but all of us assembled here today, your teachers, your families, your friends, know that many more, even greater accomplishments are sure to follow. Congratulations again on a wonderful job. As we send you off, we want to remind you that your relationship with the law school and the university does not end today. You will be University of Memphis alumni forever, and your accomplishments will bring honor to your law school, pride to our students, faculty, and alumni. So stay in touch. Give us a call, send us an email, friend us on Facebook, or like us on LinkedIn. In turn, we'll stay in touch with you and do our best to help and guide you whenever we can throughout your careers. Let me conclude this evening by expressing my great appreciation for some key members of our staff, in particular, Assistant Dean Meredith Aiden, who organized today's events. Is it Meredith somewhere out here? Wherever she is. I also want to thank Carol Landers, Abby Gardner, Archie Shelton, and all of our student volunteers who assisted offstage in these commencement ceremonies. Also, thank you again to the Bluff City String Quartet for the music they provided for today's ceremony. Please join me in giving them all a round of applause. I ask that you remain seated during the recessional as the platform party and the faculty and the graduates exit. Thank you, good evening, and to all the mothers with us here this evening, an early happy Mother's Day. Thank you all very much.